Hey everybody, hope you're all having a great weekend. Let's get this Q&A video started. Full body versus upper lower for hypertrophy. What do you prefer? At the end of the day, you're still getting twice a week muscle protein synthesis. So it doesn't really matter so much, other than the fact that with upper lower in the gym, 4 days a week, full body, twice a week. If we're talking about that setup. Otherwise, we're comparing Monday, Wednesday, Friday, heavy, light, medium, full body versus upper lower. Or every other day, full body. Or maybe even high frequency, 5 times a week or more. It all depends on the routine. But what I would say is that you can hit your genetic limit with either approach. So all I'm going to say is both are absolutely fantastic in every possible way, and you should run that which you prefer. Although for me, full body is my default because now I have more time to do other stuff, and I can do the GPP and the mini home workouts the day after, and to me it makes more sense from a scheduling standpoint. And also depending on what sport you might compete in, full body might be more advantageous from a recovery standpoint, okay? Depending. It really depends. But honestly, it's not a huge difference. It really isn't. And I don't feel like giving you a full freaking breakdown unless you want a complete video on that. But it's not crazy significant or anything. Do you have a video where you explain concurrent periodization in detail? I searched YouTube, but no idea which video to click. I can't say I have a dedicated guide, although I do have my naturally enhanced program, which teaches you how to do concurrent periodization the proper way. It's like a freaking textbook, man. It gives you all the information, some sample programs, a template, everything. So if you want to learn more about that, check it out. Otherwise, you can watch all the videos I've made about it. I mean, that's one of the terms that I use so frequently on this channel. Every single week on the Q&As, I'm discussing concurrent. I give you samples. You see my full body playlist. I show you how I train. Instagram as well. I'm always answering questions in my comment section. If you just go on the search bar of my YouTube channel and you type in concurrent, you'll find everything you'll ever need to know about the subject. I mean, it's all there. You just got to do your homework. Or else look into my naturally enhanced program. You're going to be good with that too. So no, I don't have a dedicated guide. Let me know if you want that. But as of right now, it's just scattered all over my channel. Why aren't lats, chest, tris, and quads enhanced muscles? Okay. First of all, it's my subjective belief of what a naturally enhanced physique entails. Neck, traps, upper back, shoulders, forearms, and glutes. By strategically developing these areas, you look absolutely massive without even flexing, without even trying. And these are the areas that few naturals ever develop. So I wanted a specialization that was different from other physiques, for one. But secondly, the areas you mentioned, well, in chapter 1, I talk about why it's not a main focus, but I'll just tell you right now. It's the fact that lats, for one, will automatically get huge when you get better at your rows and all that. They just will. And naturally enhanced is a yoke system. So there's so much fucking things to do there that's you're not going to have a problem with your back. You never will. It's impossible, okay? Then in regards to the chest, not required for looking massive. I think shoulders are far more important, especially when you're fluffy, because you're not going to have the upper chest separation, if you will, or the striations when you flex or whatever. And watermelon pecs are not as important as you think for looking massive. There's a lot of guys who have big bench press, big pecs, but they still don't look big. Why? They don't have the enhanced muscles developed. The yoke is far more important. So I feel that shoulders will do more for you. It's all about the outer extremities of the body, okay? That said, pecs are still important, but they're not the main focus of my system. Triceps already can get pretty jacked because I have you running a maximized program. There's lots of accessory work. There's a lot of direct tricep stuff. There's a whole section dedicated to that. I suppose an enhanced muscle would be the long head of the tris. Yeah, that technically is an enhanced muscle. But I didn't include it because I wanted you to really focus on the forearms and the fact that there's already a lot of tricep stuff in there. They're going to get huge regardless. And then in regards to quads, no. That will give you the X taper, my friend. And it's not something that I find aesthetically appealing. To me, it makes you look stumpier. It looks unaesthetic. It makes you look bottom heavy. It makes you look like a fucking Teletubby. I think that massive quads are repulsive. I don't understand why anyone would want to look like that. That's just my subjective opinion. If you like it, more power to you. I think it looks fucking horrible. But glutes, the posterior chain, that's where it's at. Because now it doesn't take away from your V-taper. You just look thick from the back. So you turn around, you got the yoke, then you got the glutes popping out. It looks fucking awesome. But these freaking huge quads that stick out, your thighs rubbing together, and then you got that outer quad suit that goes past your hip, but it's just massive, and then you wear shorts or just pants. It's all you look at is the fucking lower body, which is very attainable as a natural. Yeah, your leg potential is very high. It's fuck. Hell no, bro. If I choose to specialize in quads, it'll be VMO. VMO and calves, bro. That's if you want the aesthetic legs. There's different strategies for that. Alpha body style. So no, quads are a big, big no-no, in my opinion. So those are the enhanced muscles, bro. All the outer extremities of the body, trying to look as big as possible. And it's strategic, Hope that makes sense. And I'm sorry if I'm rambling a little bit. I'm on a 3-day fast right now, so I'm fucked. What do you think about the front wrestler bridge, aka neck plank, and the main builder to achieve a thick 18-inch neck? It could be. Try it out. Wrestlers have been doing bridging for decades. We know that it's effective. We know that you can get a huge neck. The question is, how does it compare to standard neck training? Say by doing your neck curls, neck extensions, neck side work. Say you can use a neck flex, right, with the bands. I think all those methods are far superior, and they pose a lower injury risk. But if you want to get better at bridging and all the variations, especially weighted, and you're doing a lot of front neck planks as well, I say, why would it not work? It just may not be the greatest option. But in terms of effectiveness, okay, try it out, bro. I think it'll work. I can't tell you how good it's going to be. Do you still run nucleus overload cycles? Do you think it has diminishing returns? I think the more advanced you are, the less you'll get out of it. But it absolutely works. And I credit Megan of Team 3D Alpha, 100%. I'm always going to relate it back to him. And you could check out the interview I did with him. It's absolutely incredible. One of the best on this channel, actually. So, do I still believe in it? Yes. Have I done it recently? Yeah, 3-4 months ago, I did biceps every day. One day I would do standard curls with the dumbbells. The other day, hammer curls. And I was using a little bit more than 15 pounds. I think it was 17 or something. I don't know if it worked. My arms are 16 inches cold flexed. Maybe it enhanced my potential. I would suspect that it did. My arms look better, despite the measurement not increasing. I don't know. Keep in mind, I was also doing a lot of the bro arms at the exact same time frame. I did the bro arms for about 3 months, and then I did nucleus overload at the final month. So, did it work? I don't know. My arms feel a lot more snug in t-shirts. They look better when I flex. It's a decent measurement for my height, so I'm happy with it, but it's like, I feel I should do some more nucleus overload cycles to get the crazy results. But some guys are getting really fucking like sick gains. And I think that if I would have done this on another area, like my neck or my legs, I think there the gains would be way more significant. So maybe I'm just stubborn in that regard. But yeah, I still promote it. I still recommend it. It's the real deal for sure. Hey Alex, I was wondering, since I'm doing 3x5 rather than 5x5, am I going to be getting less size gains even if my program has been doing hypertrophy rep range exercise after my main compound lifts? For example, I do 3x5 squats and 3 sets of 8 to 12 RDLs and leg press and other stuff. Okay, from a hypertrophy perspective, you have nothing to worry about. First of all, 3x5 is not that different compared to 5x5. In fact, it might be better in some cases because recovery is less of an issue. So you can hammer your frequency a little bit more. You get more PRs in the gym. That said, I would say 5x5 is superior if you can recover. Maybe you'll get 10 to 30% more gains if you want me to give you a number. But overall, 3x5 is fantastic. So just in itself, let's say you did squats 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 3x5, and you added 5 pounds of workout, you're going to get big legs. Bigger, rather. Maybe not the best, but you're going to get bigger legs. Now, you're doing that which is already effective, combined with one of the greatest lower body exercises of all time, the RDL. And you're doing 3 sets of 8 to 12, a hypertrophy rep range. Bro, you're fucking covered just off that. Then you're throwing the goddamn leg press. I'll tell you this too. If you just did a leg press and RDL, your legs would be covered. But you're doing squats on top of it. The king. So you got the fucking king, then perhaps the queen, then your little baby on the side. And then you told me doing accessories. Bro, what's there to worry about? I don't see a problem here. You are maximizing your goddamn program. And it's not hard what you're doing. So I say kudos to you. Crazy gains of weight. Why does range of motion get shorter when you're tired on rows but not on pull-ups? I would argue that it gets shorter on both. On pull-ups, I constantly see guys not getting their chin over the bar. It becomes eye level, becomes this fucking half. Or at the bottom, they don't fully lock out. I'm guilty of that too, I'm not going to lie. But I think that's more because of my hypermobility. But I see that a lot on pull-ups. Rows, it's more so the excessive cheat reps. Okay, I think that's where the range of motion becomes kind of shit. And you see me do that in some of my older workout videos, bro. I used to do these one-arm T-bar rows. The range of motion was fuck all. It was a lot of lower body drive, if you will. So that's why I think I prefer to use the term power instead of cheat. Because cheat, there's no limit to how much you could cheat, right? But if you use the word power, then the idea is that you're still using body English, but it's done in a way that actually makes sense. Where you're still getting the same range of motion. You're not skipping out on anything, but you're getting an overloading effect at the same time. Let's say comparing a power shrug to a regular shrug. Like a power shrug, for example, is not rolling your shoulders and doing this fucking chicken head bobbing bullshit. It's you bend your legs, you shrug, you squeeze the top. Well, actually, you don't have to intentionally squeeze. You automatically do it. It's just boom, all the way. That's all it is. It's not this fucking shit, what you see in those gym fail videos. Same thing for the cheat row. If you're doing what many would call the Kaler Willem row, or just an explosive row, body English and all that. The range of motion should not be decreased that much. If it is, it's because you're really like you're heaving your chest into it. You're using a lot more leg drive than you realize. So I would just say it's because of the excessive cheating that you see this going on. You ever do sumo rack pulls? I know you used to pull sumo deadlifts a few years ago when you were going to 585, but I never seen you do a rack pull with sumo stance. Yeah, I don't do them, bro. Feels weird as fuck for my anthropometry. I don't know. I just don't like them. I've done deficit sumo. I've done off blocks, and those seem to be okay, but it's like, depends on the height too. Like for me, I've never been a fan of partial sumos. It feels fucking weird. I can't explain it. I feel that it has to be really low for me to get the benefits. Even stiff leg sumo, believe it or not, that's a different variation. But it's like, just in general, I mean, I don't know, maybe I got to master the technique a little bit more. It's all right. What I would tell you is that if it's becoming a standing leg press, you're going to get less carryover. But if your goal is to build bigger traps, it doesn't matter if you're doing sumo rack pulls or not. It's all about the way to stretch, right? So it all depends on the goals here. It's all based on context. What about the upper back? I would say a conventional rack pull will build more compared to sumo. That's just my opinion. I think sumo rack pulls are fine if you choose to go that route, especially if you're doing a progressive range of motion style. If you want to get carryover, it'll work if you keep the heights really low, and it'll still build your traps if you're trying to get yoked or whatever, you know? But it's not my number one choice. I much prefer other styles. Like conventional rack pulls are fine, or just high handle trap bar deadlifts or snatch grip or stuff like that. To me, it's always been better. But that's just what works for me. You know, I have no problem if guys choose to pull that way. When doing concurrent periodization, as you rotate exercise variations weekly, do you rotate variations when doing arms as well? Yeah, everything. So if I do a barbell curl 1 week, maybe the next week I'll do the same exercise with some fat grips on it. Or I'll do a spider curl or a preacher curl or a different type of curl, whatever, it doesn't matter. You're constantly rotating every variation. The only thing is, with some accessories, you can milk it for longer. And for arms, I would say, yeah, you could milk it for longer. Like realistically, if you're doing 4x25 with a rope push down, do you have to do the V-bar the next week? Probably not. What about a band face pull? You're doing a mini band 3x20, you got to do a monster mini next? Probably not. If you get more advanced, I would say yeah. But for most of you, bro, you can milk these accessories for a longer period of time. And definitely arms, I would say, yeah, you probably could. Except for the heavy triceps. Like heavy jam presses and shit like that, you're going to have to rotate more frequently than you realize. But for curls and shit, still rotate, but maybe it doesn't have to be every week. Just saying. Yo, Alex, in your Naturally Enhanced program, a lot of exercises are done with bands. Can you do the same exercise without bands, or will that not override the biological law of accommodation? What's the alternative of a novice lifter that helps? Thanks. Bands are 100% optional for Naturally Enhanced. Do I recommend them? Yes. Do I use them? Yes. They're fantastic. I love bands. But you don't need them. I talk about this in the chapter on equipment. You can override the biological law of accommodation through just changing the variation in another type of way. Say using a Swiss bar, or going from a wide grip touch and go bench to a close grip pause bench, or a dead bench, or just a low pin press, or a slingshot bench. I just gave you a bunch of movements that you can rotate through. None of them required bands. There you have it. And actually, as a novice lifter, I would tell you not to use the bands. You'll probably get better gains without them. I find that the more experience you get, the more beneficial it becomes. And you'll notice this when you become intermediate and maybe you're doing some speed waves. Like, it's superior with the bands. It really is. But you can still get jacked out of your damn mind without them. It's just they're a very good tool. I talk about the benefits in many of my videos, but it's like, bands are fantastic, but they're optional. So you have to understand that. And yeah, you could still do it without it. Like even in the sample programs at the end, I wrote some new ones, right? In the 2019 edition. No bands, except for maybe the face pulls and shit. So no, you don't have to use bands, bro. Can we replace the bench press in the novice program by weighted dips? How would you blend your novice program with weighted calisthenics? Okay. My novice program is not a weighted calisthenics system. It's designed for first-year lifters that want to gain their first 10 to 20 pounds of muscle and general strength on a variety of compound movements, lifting-wise. I did include some weighted chins because I think they're a fantastic exercise and you should definitely do them as a novice. But like beyond that, like, okay, could you do weighted dips? In theory, yes. If you replace a close grip bench for the weighted dips, it would work fine. If you replace a floor press with the weighted dips, it would work great. You would have zero difficulties gaining muscle mass or strength. It's just not how I set it up. I want you to do benching, either floor press or pause bench. So if you choose to do weighted dips, unquestionably it will work. But it's not my novice program. And the thing is, too, I feel like there is a higher injury risk for a lot of novices. I don't feel like it's the best recommendation for maybe a widespread population. Like, you have to understand a lot of people are running this fucking system. And I think about 1 in 4 people can't do weighted dips because of anthropometry or just the mobility aspect as a whole or just lacking in certain things. So to me, it's a much safer alternative to just do benching. But if you want to do weighted deadlifts, be my guest. You'll be fine. It's just not what I chose to do for my novice program. In terms of mixing it with calisthenics, see my video on high frequency push-ups and pull-ups. I give you some good guidelines for that. Basically, it would be greasing the groove. And that will give you a nice blend for sure. Then eventually you can just switch away to calisthenics purely. I deadlift in my apartment, have to lower the weights kind of slowly so I don't bother my neighbors. Is lowering the weight slowly going to negatively affect my strength gains? Also gets harder to lower the weight slowly as I increase the weight. What's your take on this? Yeah, I think it's a terrible idea from a recovery and injury standpoint. Slow negatives on deadlifts are a great way of snapping your shit up, in my opinion. If you're going to do that, if you really have to perform the negative portion, I'd much prefer you do an RDL. It's not worth destroying your lower back or fucking up your recovery just because your neighbors don't want to hear the noise. Now, I think there are some systems you can install in your house that like really minimize the noise. So look into some acoustic panels for one, although it's not going to help that much in the grand scheme of things. I think there's better things you could buy, like these large things that really minimize the noise. And there are videos on YouTube showcasing that. So maybe invest in a sound system or just do RDLs and that's it. Because you don't want to get snapped up over your fucking neighbors. No, it's not worth it, man. And if I were in your shoes personally, that's what I would do, RDLs. I wouldn't bother with pulls from the ground. And the rack pulls I'd be careful with too, because that does make a lot of noise. But another recommendation is to maybe not go so heavy. Use submaximal lows, treat it, the pulls for volume work, and that's it. It's going to make less noise. But slow negatives on deadlifts, I don't think it's a good idea, man. RDL is what I would do in your case, yeah. Hey, Alex, I'm 17 and I could strict shrug 3 plates. However, my traps just look like an upside V and I don't have a nice round to them. They look good from the back, but I really want that bodybuilder trap look. Suggestions. Okay, for one, you're only 17 years old, so understand that you have many more gains to milk, okay? A lot more, I can promise you that. Secondly, your shrug is at 3 plates. It's good, but it can be stronger. In your case, I'd recommend bringing it up to 4 or 5 plates. Do that, and your traps should be much, much, much bigger. And I would say, by the way, you're ready for some power shrugs. Yeah, you're ready, bro. I don't know how strong your deadlift is. I'm assuming you're an intermediate lifter. So maybe start doing some more rack pulls, block pulls, stuff like that. More yoke type training, more specialization. Get your cheat rows in there, or rather power rows, power shrugs. Do all that good stuff. Start training your yoke a lot more. Even the neck, very important. And I have no doubt that in a few years from now, you're going to be a fucking tank. Trust me, you got this. It's time to specialize now. You're right there. And you're at a perfect age to start, so enjoy the gains, my friend. I have friends that lift but follow a lot of Broscience advice, training chest and arms a lot, believe in a lot of fitness myths, etc. They all seem to get better results than me in their upper body. Granted, they all started stronger and bigger than me. Any thoughts on Broscience training yielding better results than someone who's a novice powerlifter? Well, a lot of novice powerlifters really overcomplicate their training, and they're running systems that are not really appropriate for their experience level. So there's that to factor in. But I'll tell you this, if we're talking about powerlifting specifically, the Broscience guys don't tend to last as long unless they're genetic freaks taking a fuckload of drugs and they're just auto-regulated automatically by instinct, right? But in most cases, the ones who really excel, the naturals anyway, they have excellent fucking programming. In fact, most have coaches. They have a great understanding of exercise science. And the program is flawless. Everything is accounted for. So these guys don't really last that long in most cases. Also, you have to understand that just because some people are getting away with it doesn't render it as optimal, right? We have chain smokers living up to over 100 years of age. Does that mean everybody should smoke? No. We already know the health detriments. And the same thing with Broscience. If something is factually wrong, well, then it's wrong. It doesn't matter if some guys are doing it and they're still doing all right. Let's look at the available science. Of course, let's factor in experience level as well. Very, very important. And look if it's a strong correlation or not. And use your own common sense. But the thing is, a lot of these Broscience guys, they work hard as fuck. They have drive. They're meatheads. And the gym is like their life. But they just don't understand the science aspect of stuff. They're just hard workers. And the thing is, you don't have to be a genius to build a good physique. That's the truth. If you want to maximize your potential, if you want to really hit the highest pinnacle of nattyism, well, then you really got to start doing your research. But most guys, let's say you train 3 to 5 years super fucking hard. You eat like a goddamn tank. Hey, let's say you dirty bulk and you run a bro split, but you're inducing progressive overload. And you get some big numbers up. Even if it took you longer, even if it took you 5 years instead of 3, you still got the results and you're jacked, even if you don't know what the fuck you're doing. So I think in most cases, these guys are there's less mental masturbation going on. They just do. And they find out what works for them through experience. That's really all there is to it. It doesn't mean that Broscience is superior. If it's Broscience, well, it's not really the best in most cases. Although sometimes it's very much on point and the science has to catch up. and they don't have the right to call it a theory, but a hypothesis. There are some things that bros say, bro, very much on point if you actually apply the principles. So some stuff, like, you just got to get in the trenches and figure it out for yourself. Not everything's going to be figured out through science. And it's always being contradicted, by the way, in a lot of these studies. And exercise science in many ways is flawed from what I'm currently seeing. But we do have our classic textbooks, and we have a very good understanding of the science and all that. And we know it works for the most part, but there are some things that I do think we could learn from the bros. Is it okay if I only do deadlifts for legs? You could. That's what I did for years, and I maintained between 25 and 25 and a half. When I was bare, my legs were fucking massive. Now they shrunk considerably due to my own intentions. But deadlifts is what I did, bro. I did block pulls of all types, pulls from the ground, rack pulls, and then a lot of accessory work. I would do my glute ham raises, my reverse hypers, pretty much every fucking workout. I'll always do lower back and abs, always hit the hamstrings and glutes and all that. And that's it. Just a lot of pulls in the long run. Like, remember when I did the 655 hack? That took a lot of leg strength, did it not? My 7 grab bar, even the 585 sumo that I never fucking trained for. Yeah, it was all legs. Well, upper back too, yoke is helpful, but like, you know, yeah, you get stronger legs through the pulls. They're going to be fucking good. It's just that it might not be optimal. And I would say that, yeah, it's not optimal. And keep in mind too, I'm short and have good leg genetics. So maybe that is a factor. And I did a lot of volume on my accessories. Just saying. But I would say a lot of people, if you take your deadlifts up to a serious amount, you're going to have some pretty good legs. But if it's not cutting it for you, just add some squats or some lunges or some leg press. I would say leg press and deadlifts, you're really fucking covered. Like I talked about at the beginning of this video, leg press RDL. Try that out. Or squats and deads. There you go. Your perfect combo. You don't have to worry about that. But yeah, deadlifts alone should take care of a lot of you. It's just, it's not optimal. As someone who believes in maximized program, I have to tell you it's not optimal. What I did for years was not optimal either for my legs. But it's okay. That's what I wanted. But if you want the best gains, it'd be smart to do a little bit more, just saying. All right, last question of the week. What's your opinion on partial when you don't break the eccentric phase with the concentric squats in terms of injuries? And please relate to the spoto press and the dip phase when jerking, etc. Well, I'm not going to relate to that part, but listen, I've never been a fan of manual partials of any type. I don't like partial benches when you're not like going all the way down. Like you're just doing fucking quarter reps or half reps. I hate that. And I don't like quarter rep squats. To me, they're both great ways of snapping your shit up. And there's a better way to do partials, which is to break up the eccentric concentric chain. So doing it off pins, doing it off a box, or doing it with boards. That's how you do it the proper way. This way you're actually strengthening the tendons and ligaments, and you're executing the movement in a way that's much safer. Like if you're loading up a crazy fucking amount on your squats, and you're doing these quarter reps, you honestly think that's good for your knees, bro? Like, yeah, it might be specific for raising vertical jump, but like I said, a better way is to just do fucking pin squats. Or high box squats. Problem solved. You don't have to worry about this now. But of course, don't overdo it on those either. Thing is, we want to, like, what are you doing it for, you know? I would say if you treat it as a progressive range of motion technique. So you start off with the higher pin heights and you gradually lower it for carryover. That's fantastic. Or if you want to raise a vertical jump, it works. But like in a general sense, doing manual half reps or manual quarter reps where you're not breaking up the eccentric concentric chain, I'm not a fan of whatsoever. Never have been. I think that full range of motion is far superior in those cases. You only want to do partials when it's being broken up. That's the secret. That's how you actually make the best gains possible and preserve your fucking longevity with partials. So I would say to check out my video on partials and deficits. I'll give you a lot more information on the subject. But yeah, hope that helped you out. And this was a very good Q&A video. Thank you very much for posting your questions. I thought I was going to be like more messed up in answering these, but honestly it went really well. So post more down below, and I'll talk to you all next week.